guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get this half cut crease glitter look. I'm going to start by priming my eyes with the MAC Prep and Prime eyeshadow primer, and then I'm going to go in with the Tartelette in Bloom in the shade Charmer and just apply it all over the lid. Now going in the shade Smarty Pants on a MAC 224 brush, I'm going to use that in the crease as my transition shade and just blend that all over. Then going in the shade Rebel on a Morphe M441 brush, I'm going to start deepening up that crease a little bit. And like usual, I'm going to switch back and forth between the brushes that I'm using, just to make sure everything blends together as best as possible. And going back in the shade Charmer, I'm going to clean up the edges around the top of the eyeshadow just to make sure there's no harsh lines, so it just basically blends into nothing. And now going in with the shade Leader on a Morphe M433, I'm going to really darken up that crease even more. And I'm just going to go back and forth in windshield wiper motions and just really take the time to blend out all of those shadows and make sure they blend together as best as possible. I wanted to warm up this look a little bit more, so I went in with my Modern Renaissance palette in the shade Red Ochre on a MAC 217, and I basically went over the exact same spot I just did just because I wanted it a little bit more warm. So I went over it with this shade, and then I'm going to end up darkening up a little bit more with that previous shade I just used, just to give it more of a red-brown kind of look. And now going back in the shade Leader on my Morphe M433, like I said, and just kind of focusing on the outer corner and then into the crease a little bit lower than where I put Red Ochre, just to kind of deepen it up even more and have that darker look, but still have that smoky, warm look. And just going back in with Charmer to clean up the edges even more. I just really wanted to make sure the eyeshadow didn't get too high on my brow bone, so I kind of kept going back and forth doing this step. And this is when I would go in with a makeup wipe to clean up around the edges before I put my face makeup on, but I'm not even gonna lie, I ran out of makeup wipes, so I'm just using a Kleenex right here. Doesn't work as good, but it gets the job done. Now going in with Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair on this Urban Decay brush that came with my Naked palette. This is actually my favorite brush to use for doing any cut crease look. It just works really well for me. Now because I have very small hooded eyes, I'm going to really overdraw where my crease should go, because I feel like if I go along my natural crease and I put glitter in that, then you don't really see it unless my eyes are closed, and I want it to be able to stand out even when my eyes are open. So I'm going to overdraw it a little bit, and then you're going to see I'm going to use my finger to kind of blend out the edges of it so it's not a full cut crease. It just kind of blends in with that shadow I put on the outer corner. And I wasn't too worried about getting a perfect clean line for this, because when I apply the glitter, I'm going to really correct that line and make sure it's nice and perfect. Then setting this using the shade Charmer again on a Morphe M214 brush. Now taking this MAC pressed pigment in the shade Light Touch on a MAC 233, I'm going to wet it down a little with some Fix Plus and apply it to the area that I did the lighter shadow. This really isn't necessary. I just wanted to do it because when I apply the glitter, I wanted to make sure if I missed any spots, you would at least see some shimmer underneath it instead of just a plain white eyeshadow. And now going back in with the shade Leader on a Morphe M432, I'm going to use that just to kind of clean up the edges a little bit, and then I'm going to switch brushes to my Morphe M433 just to make sure that the glitter is blended in with the outer corner of the eyeshadow with that darker brown. Now I'm going to take my Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Midnight Cowboy, and I'm going to apply this all over the lid where I put that pressed pigment. This is where I really take my time to make sure I perfect that line and get it nice and perfect, and then I fill in the entire lid. I have to let it dry a little bit in between, otherwise if you just keep applying to the wet glitter, it's just going to start rubbing off. So make sure you let it dry a little bit in between, and you kind of just layer it on there until you get the desired look that you want. I wanted to get this as glittery as possible, so I just kept on applying as much glitter as I could. And as you start to get towards that outer corner, I used very light pressure with the brush, and I just kind of feathered it into the darker shadow, so it just blended a little bit better with that. And now going back in the shade Leader, just kind of cleaning up the edges even more and darkening that shadow up just a little bit more. And I'm just adding a little bit more of that shadow into the outer crease just to kind of blend it in with the glitter even more. I didn't want to have any harsh lines right there. And for the eyeliner, I'm going in with Maybelline Eye Studio Liner on a MAC 266. I like to apply it to the lash line, and then I add the wing, and then I kind of thicken it up a little bit and just kind of mess with it until I like it. forgot to tell you guys that when I applied the glitter, I did avoid the area where my eyeliner was going to be, because last time I did this look, I had a hard time getting the eyeliner over the glitter and still looking nice and smooth. So now I'm going back in with the glitter and filling in any spots that I had missed previously and just cleaning it up right up to the edge of the eyeliner. And now I'm going to finish the rest of my face makeup off camera, and then we'll come back and finish the eyes. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with the shade Smarty Pants on a MAC 224, and I'm just going to really smoke out that lower lash line. And now going in the shade Rebel on a MAC 217 to darken it up even more. I'm going to basically go in all of those brown shades in the Tarte palette that I use on my eyelid to just kind of smoke out that lower lash line. I'm then going to go in with Leader on a Morphe E18 and really darken it up even more. And for the waterline, I'm going in with the MAC eyeliner in the shade Cat's Meow. I'm applying it to my top lashes and my lower lash line as well. And going back in that shade Leader on a Morphe M432, I use that to smudge out that lower lash line where I applied the eyeliner, but then I wanted it to be a little bit darker, so I went in that shade right above it, which is Activist, and I used that to really smudge it out. And like always, I'm going in this MAC eyeshadow in the shade Orb, and I'm going to just use this to clean up any mistakes that I might have made with my eyeshadow. This is my favorite shadow to use to really blend out any of the edges and clean up any mistakes. Now when I do my eye makeup before I do my face makeup, I feel like after I apply my foundation, I always have like an awkward line that's not blended out from the eyeshadow. So I like to take this eyeshadow from Melt Cosmetics in the shade Blur, and I really blend that part into my nose, basically almost like it's kind of like a nose contour, you could say, but I feel like it just really blends in that eyeshadow even better. And then of course going back in with Orb to make sure it's not too harsh. Now going in with the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara just on my lower lashes, because I do have eyelash extensions, so I don't need to put any mascara or use any falsies. So I'm just going to apply this to my lower lashes. And now for the lips, I'm going in with this MAC lip liner in the shade In Control. I'm going to be lining my lips and basically just filling them in with this. I always like to fill in my lips with lip liner before I apply the lipstick, because I feel like it helps the lipstick last even longer. And for the lipstick, I'm going in with the shade Hug Me by MAC. And this is the finished look. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Bye!